Hey y'all, coming to you from international headquarters, ScottieDTV, but I was just down at the 2022 World of Wheels Birmingham, and I came across a 1968 Roadrunner I think y'all are going to like. Let me get the camera turned on, we'll take a quick look at it.
Charlie, what a cool car, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it's a 1968 Roadrunner. It's actually an original owner car, and he just said, let's do something crazy, and here we are.
So you're saying that the guy that had this done to this car actually bought this car back in 68?
Yeah, it was his dad's car, and so it was just basically, hey, let's keep this in the family, and let's just do something wild and crazy like my dad was. So
right.
He proposed, let's do purple and green and all these fancy colors, and then it was just black, and I was like, we can't just do black. It's too Darth Vader. We got to do something that has some pop to it, all these hard lines.
And he wanted to put bright colors with that. Thank goodness you didn't do that.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
something mean and aggressive.
Right, because the car has that kind of mystique look about it, you know, and there's a ton of detail. Until you get up and look at it close, you don't really see all that detail, but I think it gives it, you know, kind of draws you in. You know, from a long distance away, you can see it's a cool car, but as you get closer, then you start to see more and more of it, you know.
Yeah, all the hard lines and all the ground effects and details, and yeah, just all those lines just pop out in the sun like crazy.
Tell me, you know, did you modify the body at all?
Oh yes. So we started with the back of the car, and I built a little duckbill spoiler, and then I built the diffuser on the back. And then as I worked my way around the sides, I was like, how the heck am I going to compete with the back of the car as aggressive as it is? And so his biggest request was, I want to do side exit exhaust. Well, the rocker panel is right there, and that's right where the 4-link bar's attached to. And so I had to tunnel through that and plate that all back up. And as I moved forward, I got to the basically the front of the fender, and I was like, none of these lines are going to match up to the sides or match the back. So I drew up a rendering and proposed it to him, and he liked it. And then I built it, and then I built it again. So I didn't really like the first one. It grew into what it is. It needed bigger openings and just have a bigger mouth in the center of it. So it just kind of all evolved into what it is now. We put a front little splitter on it. The hood is the only thing we really didn't modify. The shape of the hood just fit the smoothness of the side of the car. The grill, all the billet parts throughout the whole build, he machined in-house. So I was the creator and designer, and along with another guy was the creator and designer. We all just kind of put all our plans together and came up with all these little billet pieces that resembled factory stuff from 1968, and then incorporated into a retro mod build.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For all the, obviously the chin spoiler and all that kind of stuff is obviously, you know, heavily modified and custom.
Sure.
But when you look at the grill and all, yeah, it looks a lot cleaner and more modern and this and that, but it still looks like a Roadrunner grill to me.
Right. And he wanted to keep the tail lights, he wanted to keep door handles, he wanted to keep the key lock. So there's quite a few little small things that definitely wanted us to keep original 268. But everything else, man, we just pretty much cut up, modified, made it what we wanted it to be.
Did you have to change the roof line or side lines or anything like that on the car?
We cut the drip rails out, and then we barely narrowed the window channels to basically fit around the trim like it should have in 1968 and 69. You know, none of these aftermarket trims fit anything, and so the actual trim on the car is the original trim. They offer aftermarket, but it just doesn't fit this particular build.
Right. And what color is it?
It's a Voodoo Violet from House of Color, and then it's got a DCU 2021 PPG clear on top of it.
And did you fade it at all, or is that all the lights doing that in the paint, going from so light to dark?
It's a custom mix of the Voodoo Violet. So yeah, just all the cosmic pearls that come in House of Color. We just mixed it to a crazy ratio with like 40 different spray outs. So I finally came up with a color that was dark enough, but in the sun it was bright enough and not like pink or blue. So It was pretty tricky to get that.
No, you have to be careful when you're messing with purple, right? Because, I mean, that's one of those colors. If you nail it, it'll work, but it's easy to... It's like yellow, right? I mean, you know, when yellow looks good, it looks good, but so many times it was just a shade or two wrong, and, you know, you got trouble. And what I noticed about it, like I said, is it almost goes from a black, and not to a bright purple, but to a real vibrant purple, you know?
Sure.
And as you walk around it. And all that work that you did on it, that's metal there.
It is. It's all metal. Yeah, there's no fiberglass in the car whatsoever.
What about 3D parts?
Yeah, so we've got 4 3D printers in-house, and so we draw up a CAD, design it, print it, and it's like the speaker grills, the radiator cap cover, man, there's just a bunch of, there's probably 20-something different parts that have all been either machined or 3D printed throughout the entire build.
And what about wheels?
Ferrata. So we're running a 22 by 11 in the rear and a 20 by 9 in the front.
And what powers it?
It's a matching numbers motor that we took. And yeah, it was the original owner, so he still had the original motor. And, we took the 383.
That's Charlie's Creations, CustomCreations.com. His number's listed on. You can get in touch with him. No fan mail coming to me. I had nothing to do with it. I just shoot the videos, guys, because I know that there is just Mopar fans that heads just went through the roof when you said it was a numbers matching car. Holy
it was. Yeah. So now it's a 496 high compression roller, fuel injected by Holley. Yeah, so it makes some good power. We hadn't dynoed it, but man, when you throttle it, it hits a lick for sure.
Naturally aspirated. You didn't blow on it at all.
No blowers or turbos yet. We don't. We'll let the owner get used to this power and see what he wants to do later on. Yeah.
And what about chassis and all? What'd you do about that?
So the front is a QA1 full tubular cross member, control arms, the whole shebang. The rear is Control Freaks with Hotchkiss subframe connectors. When we started the build, it was about 4.5 years ago. We've had the car done for a couple months now, but 4-year build. When we started all the project, we couldn't find a chassis, somebody to build like a full chassis. Now there's chassis everywhere, so it as a builder, it helps out a ton. Just be able to buy a chassis and have all the R&D done, where we kind of had to develop and build out riggers to go to the rockers and strengthen this and that kind of deal. So
it'd be nice if they could all be on chassis, but that was a unibody car to begin with, so
correct.
It's better than it was. I can tell you that.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
What about interior?
Brett at Concord Customs. He's done quite a few cars for us, but the owner, Brett, and I, we all basically sat down and went through kind of what we wanted to do as a design, and I basically incorporated, said, my only request was, I just wanted to make sure it matches what's done on the outside. It kind of has to all flow together. Brett is phenomenal at that. So he and the owner, Jamie, got together and designed and made and said, hey, can you do this and that? And he just did a phenomenal job with wrapping every panel in there with this crazy material that was like a distressed leather ball glove material. But at first we were kind of like, is this gonna work for the build? But man, it fits perfect. The whole thing just came together like it was supposed to. So
was there a theme to it, or just?
Well, he's a huge Star Wars fan, so that's kind of what the car was based off of. The window switches are the handles of a lightsaber, just shrink way down, and CNC on a lathe, and the grab handles everywhere. The whole seats are out of one of the spaceships on Star Wars. I don't know too much about Star Wars, but Star Wars fans will know exactly what that looks like. But,
right.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool car. Is there anything I'm missing on it?
Man, it's just a wicked little car. And I could go on for really days about all the little details on it, but yeah, no, just a cool build, and thankful for the job, and thankful for the owner to give us the rights to do kind of, give us a blank canvas and say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I want it to look like, and run with it.
No, I think it turned out cool, and I think it's worth mentioning too that it's been invited to the 2022 ScottieDTV Dirty Dozen at the Pigeon Forge Rod Run, and Charlie and hopefully the owner and all will be there with the car. So if you have more questions, then April, come to the show, see me, see Charlie, check out the car, ask him all the questions you want to ask. He'll be there. As you can tell, he's a very nice guy. Doesn't care to talk to people and tell them what he's done. So. No, brother, I think it turned out. It's a cool car, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again in April.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So there you go, from the 2022 World of Wheels Birmingham, a very cool 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. See ya! Hey y'all, make sure you subscribe to this channel and visit ScottieDTV.com for an easy way to search the hundreds of videos I have posted. Either click the link in the description or the one at the end of this video.